definitely do not need to be chronically online or even on the business side of the internet to have seen the propaganda that is making money online, making money on the internet, self-employment, freelancing, all the things. And a lot of this propaganda feels just kind of weird and off-putting. I mean, there's a lot of, for example, pyramid schemes and or just straight up illegal activity. But then I would say there's a gray area that you can kind of see how and why they're able to do this thing and make money on the internet, but it just kind of feels weird. It doesn't align with you. And I totally get it. I think it's very reasonable to feel skeptical about all of this stuff, especially in the way that a lot of people sell how you can do this thing. However, for millions of people across the globe, making money on the internet is just work. I mean, have you seen how much the world has changed in the past 5 years since the pandemic? The world of work is changing before our eyes. I don't know you, but I know that you've had at least one conversation with a friend or a family member, or read something or seen a post of someone talking about how applying for jobs just feels like a humiliation ritual these days. This is not a coincidence. We are living in a time of a lot of change, and there's no real structure or person or, in my opinion, guaranteed path for success, which to me is exciting, and that's a big part of what I want to get across today. Amidst this black gray area of ways to make money on the internet that you definitely want to stay away from, there are reasonable, true and tried ways to make money on the internet. And how I'm defining reasonable, true and tried is offering a service and or skill that is currently really valuable, will likely be valuable over the next 10, 20 years as long as you continue to upskill where fit. But also it's a skill that, for whatever reason, if you were to go back to a traditional corporate role, you could put it on your resume and it would be valuable. So it's something worth investing in that sense. And one of these true and tried ways to make money on the internet right now is a niche marketing skill that brands are already paying thousands of dollars for. The issue is that most people don't realize that you can offer this independently. And additionally, it's a skill that is what I like to refer to as close to the money. As someone offering a service independently, you want to make sure that the person that you're offering the skill to can objectively see that it's helping them make more money, because that's ultimately the goal, right? So if the skill you're offering is objectively close to the money, that means one, you can make more money, but two, it also creates longevity in the relationship. Likely they're going to continue working with you if everything is working. And that also means reoccurring revenue, meaning money to your bank account every single month, because it's something that they consistently need. It's the perfect concoction if you ask me. So what I'm going to do today is explain exactly what this actually is, why it's so popular right now, why brands are paying so much money from it, and how self-taught marketers like me have never worked a corporate job. Okay, so I think it's important to discuss the sort of like cultural shift that has occurred. I don't want to bore you with information, but it is important for you to reflect and look at how much the world has changed in the past 5-6 years. I mean, the barrier to entry to do almost anything has decreased because of AI, tech innovations, all the things. And as a cause, there's been a massive change in the way that people consume information. Back in the day, there was very few news channels, and they would come on at specific times, and people would just sort of wait around to watch the news with their family. Today, all of that attention, it's digital, it's on our phones, it's on applications. So if you're a business and you want to get in front of the most people, you're going to go where people are, which is the digital environment. So businesses are spending loads of money, and almost every platform that you use has an option for businesses to pay them to get their advertisements in front of people like you. I mean, unless you have YouTube Premium, you're probably going to see a few ads in this video. So in short, most brands rely heavily on paid advertisements for revenue, for growth. They pay the platforms to put their business in front of the right people. And because so many people spend all their time on these applications, the apps have a lot of data. They know who we are and what we like. So oftentimes these applications can pretty much guarantee correct placement of ads. If you're a business and you know exactly who buys your product, you can go on the back end of these platforms and say, okay, this woman who's 25, who also likes this and this, likely wants my product. And the app can say, great, put some money behind this, and we'll push this out to that person. This exact format, called paid social, is how many brands are scaling their income, are growing. But there is a big but. It's easier to get in front of people, and the barrier to entry is lower, which means more people can start a business, which means there's a bit of a saturation in the sense that consumers, like you maybe, are highly aware of this concept, what an advertisement is when they're scrolling on their platform and they want to look at funny cat videos and someone's trying to tell them to go buy some creatine or some oil or whatever the case is, which means that the consumer is harder to convince and are overall more desensitized to ads. So if you want to cut through the noise, especially if you have a really good product that you've invested in, it solves a real problem, and you want to get the word out there and convince people to take a chance on you, you've got to find unique ways to make them trust you and spend their hard-earned money on your product. So the problem these days isn't how do we get in front of the right people? The problem actually is how can we create the best possible thing to put in front of people so they actually convert. So that's where that niche marketing skills comes in. In the paid social industry, we refer to this position, this role, this skill as creative strategy. Now, it's kind of annoying because there's different variations of creative strategy in different industries and brand, etc. So this version is specifically in regards to paid social. So what the creative strategist does in the paid social industry is, one, figure out what angle is best to push. What are we even going to say and why? Then define and come up with the actual messaging. So the messaging will either be presented in a talking format. So you might see an ad where someone's talking to camera, or a static image ad where it's just words on some sort of screen or image or product photo. And then they oversee the production of this, how it gets filmed, how the end looks. And then they're also deciding what gets tested, what needs to be edited and changed around, and how we can optimize it so it can scale, so that the ad platform continues to put money behind it and put it in front of the right people. So as mentioned, creative strategy in marketing as a whole can mean coming up with a brand campaign for a billboard, or content planning or messaging frameworks. There's a range of things. But in this context, it's purely related to performance and growth paid ads. So I want you to think about the last time you've been watching a YouTube video or scrolling on any platform and saw an ad that made you stop. It likely felt really native, or it had a hook, a interesting first 3 to 5 seconds that really pulled you in, that spoke to specifically you, and you're like, whoa, how did they know that about me? There was a creative strategist who spent a lot of time researching and developing that to get you to feel the way that you did, which means that the role is very nuanced. It's very psychological. It requires you to have good pattern recognition, but you also need to think analytically as well when it comes to the numbers and the data, because the ad platform gives you information on how people are reacting to the ad. You can see how many people stopped, how long they watched, whether they added to cart or not. You get all of that information, and you need to make educated guesses on how you can optimize and or scale that concept based on that data. So it starts with the ideation, the coming up with the idea, and ends and evolves with the data. So you need to be using both parts of your brain equally. This specific role, creative strategy, has evolved a lot just over the past few years, because in the early 2010s, when these digital platforms were just coming up, again, it was more predictable. There wasn't that much saturation. The ad concepts that you had to make didn't require, from my understanding, so much pattern recognition, so much understanding of your audience and psychology deeply. So a lot of times the person who was actually running the ads, which that role is called a media buyer, would just throw it up, put some money behind it, and they would kind of work. Now it's a completely different game. You need someone who understands both sides of things. And that's where this role evolved in the paid ads industry. So as I kind of alluded to in the beginning, I've never worked a corporate job. I was one of those Gen Zs who felt disillusioned when they graduated and the world that I was promised didn't exist. It was really difficult to get a job. So I started freelancing. I personally started off doing copywriting, so writing the words on websites and emails, etc. And I realized that that was a transferable skill into creative strategy. And I had some of my clients who I was writing copy for ask me if I could help them with this thing that they're trying to figure out. So I said, why not? It seems like it kind of matches. So I just spent time understanding the data, and I was able to put those things together. And that's how I ended up in the industry. And since then, 2021, it has changed drastically. There's so many new things every single day. And today I have a minimum roster of 3 clients at a time. And the minimum a client pays me month to month to do creative strategy for them is around 5,000 USD. And on the higher end, I have clients that pay me $11,000 a month to do creative strategy work. It just depends on the deliverables, the setup, what we have in terms of bonuses and all that stuff I'll talk about in a bit. And just to give you a little bit of context, I'm a busy girl. I have multiple streams of income, but my freelance income specifically requires roughly around 20 to 25 hours of work per week. Now, I'm not saying that you as a beginner who's never heard of creative strategy will be making the same amount of money in the same amount of time, roughly part-time work, just because I've been doing this for quite some time. So I've really built up my muscle. I have a lot of experience and I can execute fast. I've earned the place that I'm at. Now, the reason that you can get paid such a healthy amount, not necessarily tied to how much you work or how long it takes you to do the thing, is because these brands are already spending thousands, sometimes millions of dollars per month on these ad platforms, with the whole purpose of getting more dollars back for the amount they spend. So if they spend $1, they want to make sure they're getting $2 or $3 or $4 back, right? And how are they able to make that money? If the ad that the creative strategist makes is actually good, is actually converting people, is capturing attention. So even just one good idea over a period of 3 months, 6 months, a year can generate 10x, 100x returns. So it's one of the most important investments that a brand that's making money primarily through paid ads can make, a creative strategist. Even just the smallest improvement of an ad that already exists can have massive, massive returns. And as I said in the beginning, the closer you are to the money, the more you can get paid. This is one of the best examples of that. So in a bit, I'm going to get into why freelancing this skill set is really valuable, why brands even prefer hiring freelancers in this capacity. But if you're still watching and you're like, yes, I think this is something that I could do, or I'm at least interested in learning more, in the month of May, I'm running a creative strategy intensive. We are going to be breaking down every single aspect of creative strategy, copywriting, production, all the things that I've already discussed that the role entails, but more importantly, how you can successfully get paid for it and build a career out of it that feels stable in this ever-changing economy. How to package your services, what brands actually need the services, how much you charge for them, and how to position yourself so brands take you seriously, even if you're a beginner and coming from no marketing background. It's going to be hosted by me and a few other creative strategists and full-time marketers that I've personally worked with. We're all working with multi-million-dollar brands that are paying us thousands of dollars every single month. You can sign up at the link in the description. We're starting on the first week of May, so doors close to join on the last day of April. And if you're not watching in real time and it's after May, the link in the description will likely send you somewhere where you can get access to the recordings and all of that stuff. Okay, as promised, let's get into why this is something that brands even prefer to have freelancers do rather than a full-time employee. First of all, many multi-million-dollar e-commerce businesses are running with a completely freelance team. They have maybe one or two full-time employees where it makes sense that this person is full-time, but for the most part, they have very lean teams. And it's completely possible to run a multi-million-dollar business now with freelancers across the globe, which means one, you don't have an overhead of a big office, you don't have a bunch of payroll and having to offer benefits and health insurance and all the things because the people that are working for you are contractors. What this means is they can find the best talent that will get them results, pay them well. It doesn't really matter what else they're doing, what other clients they have, as long as they're giving you the result that you're looking for. The founders today care about outcomes more than anything. I mean, if you go on LinkedIn for 1 second, you're going to hear loads about remote work. That translate into the rise in the freelance industry in general. For freelancers, it benefits us because we can get paid for the outcomes we produce. So for example, you can set up deals as a freelancer where you get paid a flat fee, but also a percentage of the outcomes. If the ad makes them a lot of money, you can get a percentage of that as an example. That's a very common setup in the creative strategy space, which means it's not tied to how much you work. And in most traditional 9-to-5 careers, this is not an option. You're actually probably producing more for the business and making more for the business and getting paid the same or like a small increase every year. But also you can make more money in general because you can have 2, 3, 4 clients at the same time with the same exact setup. And the better you get at executing, the faster you can do things, the more savvy you get with AI and tech. You can also speed up your workflow, which means you can create a very flexible career that earns you a lot and frees up a lot of your time so you can invest it into whatever else you want to do. But the thing is, because the freelance industry is pretty much the wild, wild west, there's no standard for anything, a lot of freelancers who might be very well suited to do creative strategy, have the marketing skill sets, are really good at what they do, they struggle to make money or get used and manipulated working in agencies or with founders who do not respect them or their time because they don't know how to advocate for themselves, because they don't know how to package their skill accordingly. They don't know what brands they should look for. They underprice. They don't understand the value that they're bringing. Understanding how to sell your skill, how to sell you and what you have to offer is probably the most important thing that you can know how to do in 2026 in terms of building your career, building a personal brand, whether you want to freelance or not. It's the same exact formula that is very important right now to get a traditional job, but we're not taught how to do that. And as I slightly alluded to earlier, AI is absolutely changing the space as we speak. Before, when I first started, ChatGPT didn't even come out yet. So a lot of the research aspect of things was very time consuming, and coming up with variations or small changes to an ad concept that I created would take way more time. Now we have AI tools where I can take my understanding of the fundamentals, I can take my creative ideas that AI can't necessarily replicate, give it to it so it can replicate it and use my brain to take over the world, but also then do what I would take me hours before in seconds, which frees up time for me to get more clients or produce more for brands, which is very, very powerful. In fact, there are literally creative strategists now who are creating custom AI tools for brands, which they're just taking their knowledge, creating these custom tools, and then helping the brand deploy them. So the tool is not taking over the role itself. It's allowing for faster execution. For example, one of my big clients that I've worked with for the past 3 years came to me with a video showing me that they got a freelancer to make this AI generated app that can take any idea or concept that I come up with, because that's the valuable part, the fundamental knowledge that I have about the brand, the industry, the cultural moment. I can put it into the AI and it can produce up to 50 different visual concepts of this thing. So this is specifically in regard to static image ads that maybe have a product of the photo or a person. I can give it specific guidelines, colors, inject different things into it, give it my idea, give it the messaging, and then it can execute on that. And then I can iterate on that as well. I can click it and say, change this to blue, and it will just change it without me having to brief an editor or brief someone else to do so. Now, not all brands are doing this. I still work with brands who hate the AI tools and love working with editors and that kind of thing. But I just wanted to show you an example of how there's little pockets even within this industry that you can make money from. I'm sure the freelancer who made that app made thousands of dollars for making it. AI isn't replacing the strategist, it's just making the strategist's work 10 times more powerful. So as a creative strategist, you're doing competitor research, you're analyzing ads, you're analyzing your customer's behavior, you're identifying patterns, you're coming up with an angle, and then you're writing the actual messaging that you'll get either an actor or a creator or someone to produce. Then you'll coordinate with the rest of the team to push that on the ad platform and see how it works. If it works well, you find a way to iterate and make it even better. If it doesn't perform well, you iterate to make it even better. And the cycle just continues. All right, so now that you understand what this actually is, why it's really valuable, next week, I'm going to get a bit more practical. If you want a head start, I did like a 2-hour free creative strategy course on YouTube a couple years ago. I'm doing a revamped version next week. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. It's going to be updated for the current times. As I said, the world's changing so much, but you can check out the old one to brush up and get ready for the new version in a week's time. I'll put it on screen so you can just click on it if you're interested. And don't forget to check out the Creative Intensive link in the description. We'll talk soon. Bye.